Welcome, folks. Towards the end of our 10-day excursion in Alaska, I thought, let's take a little UTV tour up through Hatcher Pass. It was a pretty good time. This is the compound area. I'll give a shout out to our guides, Mike and Kevin. They did a really good job. There they are, Hatcher Pass Castle ATV tours. They got cabs on them, everything. It's a nice way to ride. Let's bring this drone down for a landing. Jump in our UTVs and hit the trail. Let's go. As you can see, we start out in a nice dirt parking lot, graveled, much of Alaska is, and we pull out onto this road that'll take you all the way to Palmer, Alaska. It's a dirt road and surprisingly really well maintained. I need to get my driveway down to the ranch looking like this. Not too bad. There were some potholes here and there, but this wasn't bad. So we take this for a few miles, and then we're gonna jump off and get into some water and some trails. Now these are mostly headwaters that we're going through, so we're not destroying the natural environment, so to speak. With the headwaters that's coming out of melt off, it's coming out of the ground, and rainwater. So there are of course some macrofauna, insects, and probably some trout in this area, but the abundance of life in the water, the salmon, the trout, those are in the waters, the main thoroughfares of water where this water dumps into. And you'll see as we go back to drone footage further in the video how this water just kind of runs up through the valley and then stops. It's coming off the mountain. This was a lot of fun. We're getting a little experience, and we called it an Alaskan car wash. This was just a short little journey to give us a feel of what these little machines can do. Polaris 1000. It's a nice little UTV. It's got the cab on top. Today wasn't really necessary. It was a beautiful day, probably almost 60 degrees, sunny as you can see. We had the windows down. But these tours, from what we're told, are year-round. They also do snowmobiles. They put tracks on these, and they have heating and air, so very comfortable. Their competitors do not. They're all open. So if it's kind of rough Alaskan weather, you would suffer in other transportation, but these are very comfortable. We had a good time. I'm just about getting ready to come back up out of the water. We're going to cross back over the Hatcher Pass Road. Again, that take you all the way to Palmer and beyond. And then we're going to go through a little flood zone. Got Randy and Suzanne in front of us in the UTV. I try to hold back a little bit, get better picture. Really shocked my GoPro never fell off. It's on a little suction cup mount. I stuck it up on the hood. The entire time I was waiting to slam on the brakes and try to retrieve it from the mud or the water. It stayed on the entire time. This is a flood zone. No, this isn't the actual stream. They've had very heavy rains up there over the past several weeks, and this is adjacent to one of the streams up there, and this is all flooded. The road is actually up there elevated to the left of us. Again, just a lot of fun. nice little day of excursion. I think the whole trip probably about 2.5 hours maybe. We come out here. We did see quite a few people, and most of them were panning for gold. And we're going to do a little panning further up in a pond area that receives water coming off the mountain. It's actually an ideal location. Here we're climbing some elevation here. We did several miles on this road. But this is the pass that if you were in a passenger car, this is what you take. Surprisingly, we saw little Kias and Toyotas and so forth. I don't think I could ever live in Alaska without owning a nice big hefty 4x4. Here we are, we're off the beaten path. We're taking the UTV trail. It's not very wide. It doesn't look too bad here, but there were several areas where we were rock crawling. These UTVs have very nice clearance. I'd say, well, one, it's probably too narrow for your average half-ton pickup, but it certainly wouldn't have the clearance. If you were just in a standard 4x4 150, you're not making it. As you can see, there's very few turnaround spots. Now, if you had a little bit of clearance, you're in a Jeep or a lifted 4x4 half-ton, sure, no problem. But this is certainly not for your average passenger vehicle. You can see the beautiful mountains up ahead. No trees in this area. We got all this brush to the left and right. One of the predominant plants in the area, berry bushes, wild blueberries. Well, we started this around 11:30, maybe noon. Again, it's a beautiful sunny day, near 60 degrees, so not a lot of wildlife running around. But if you were here early in the morning, or you did the early evening, especially on maybe a cloudy, misty day, you'd probably see quite a few bears out there gorging on blueberries, moose going through the swampy areas. But we settled for comfort and beautiful weather. This is one of the turnarounds, and it was just beyond the pond. We're going to go back there. That's where we did some panning for gold. You see, this is just a great big giant valley here. Really nice. Camera certainly does not do it justice. I'm going to take the drone up. We're going to fly around some of the edges of these mountainous areas. Give you a little bird's eye view. Let's get that drone up in the air. Time to fly. So I'm going to keep this not too high, probably 150, 200 feet. We're under 250 gram drone, so we don't have to register, but that also means we cannot fly over 400 feet. So I like to keep it down nice and low. Don't need the FAA coming after me. As you can see, these are all runoff streams. We'll zip back around here, take a look at the mountain peaks. Come back around. There we go. Now we're on the right side of the mountain. all these rocks were dumped by the last glacier. Glaciers pulled debris and basically just plowed the sides of the mountain, the earth, and they leave this debris fields behind. They've probably been sitting here close to 10,000 years. Really interesting terrain. Here you can see these are just cuts. The streams are just cuts from the runoff. All that water that comes in, the rains, they just veer down the channels in the mountain, and they collect in these silted areas. It's very shallow water, but again, it's going to go down, it's going to feed the main waters. That's where the abundance of trout and salmon, all the wildlife. Of course, this does have a little bit more life in it than, say, when we were over at Portage Glacier, at the lake there. That is what's considered a dead lake. It's void of life. Here's the pond where we were doing a little gold panning. Nobody got rich. The wife did find 3 tiny little nuggets. Slipped them in her pocket. Didn't think I'd notice. It was a lot of fun. She got to feel like a wealthy miser. And these rocks over here, probably 1,000 pounds, some of them, or more. It's kind of hard to tell the scope and size, but many of those rocks are equivalent to a small car. All right, let's come in for a landing. Say hello, everyone. Buzz the crowd. Let's get back into the UTVs. They also have ATVs in this area. That would be a lot of fun during a day like today, but I don't know, 300 other days of the year, probably not. I most definitely want to go with that UTV. Here we are back over here. This is a couple of guys mining up here, gold panning rather. We saw signs on their claims. They have to put out a claim and go out there and try and find it. And hopefully our UTV got to tear up a little bit of the sediment and push some gold their way. Good luck to you guys. Hope you get rich. I'm gonna go up and over this mound over here. Very capable little machines. They're a lot of fun. We have our ATVs on the ranch that we work really hard, and we have a lot of fun on them. But we might have to grab one of these UTVs with a little dump trailer on the back, just for a little more work. Gonna go up and over the hill, and we're gonna join the convoy. We're gonna head back to the compound here shortly. This is, like I said, over 2 hours, trying to condense it into about 15 minutes. Really appreciate you stopping by. Take care, guys.